Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another video. This time, Orcust, one of my favorite decks that I built recently. I have been busy. I have a bunch of decks to share with you guys. There's still so many I saved in the database. But let's start with Orcust today, and then we can move on to some of the other ones. I also updated my Charmers deck with the Adventure Engine. Special thanks to the Discord guys over at Master Duel, the Charmer guys. They're amazing. They helped me make my Charmers deck very strong. But let's do Orcust today, and then we'll get to the Charmers. I'll make another video very soon. Don't worry. So Orcust, right off the bat, I think we can remove this Raigeki. I've been getting better with my deck building recently. So you know, as I keep playing, as I said, I'm free to play, budget, but I also have been getting better at this game. So right off the bat, you know, to keep it 40 cards, you can get rid of Raigeki. But let's go through. So usually I do a card by card, but let's actually just go through what Orcust does, and then we can get into the gameplay. And I'll do a quick card by card first. But let's just go through exactly what Orcust does. So basically, what you're trying to do is set up one of your Orcust links, which is Galatea or Longirsu. Get them out in the field live with either Orcust Babble, which is the field spell, which lets you activate your monster effects during the opponent's turn, which is really strong, or you run Orcust Crescendo, which is basically Omni Negate. One time Omni Negate, and that just helps you disrupt the opponent, so you could OTK them like the turn after. So I typically play, with my budget builds, I typically play going second. This deck can definitely go second. It's not the strongest deck, but if you get material in the graveyard, such as your Harp Horrors or your Brass Bamber, if you get any of your Orcust names, your Orcust Nightmare, if you get them in the graveyard and they don't OTK you, you have a good chance of winning the next round. That's how strong this Orcust deck is. The dangers help to get stuff in the graveyard, and initially I had more dangers, but I removed them to put in this Scrap Recycler engine, which is really cool because basically, you start off with one of these Scrap Recyclers, and you end off with basically a Scrap Wyvern, which is a Link 2, and material, for probably another Link 2. So it gets you to a Link 3, Link 4 just by one normal summon. So it kind of dies to one disruption, but still pretty strong. So let's quickly go through the card by card. So my 2 DD Crow, which I got recently from a pack, so I really just try and include it whenever I can. I love Droll, one of the cheapest hand traps that's very effective because everyone searches cards, so very strong. Orcust Brass Bomber, this is one of the weakest Orcust monsters because it only special summons from your hand, but you should at least run one. This is that Scrap Recycler engine that I was talking about, so you gotta run 3 of these. So when this is normal or special summon, you can send a machine, monster from your deck to the grave, and what you would send is Crystron Rosenix, so that when this is in the graveyard, so you skip all that in the beginning, and then you can banish this card from your grave. You're supposed to summon a Crystron token, machine token. So then you use that to make Scrap Wyvern. And then since you linked this off, since you linked off the Scrap Recycler, you could bring it back and then special summon another one from the deck, which is typically the Golem, just right here. And then you have basically a link 4. So you could basically make Barricade Board Blocker, if you have like an Orcust in your hand to dump it into the grave, or anything really. You could go into Lib if you dumped like the Wand. It opens up so many plays. It's really strong. But that's the scrap engine. The one bundle Ash. I run 2 Symbol Skeletons because this is pretty strong, especially in the grave. Because you could bring back, say, your Galatea that you use to get your Dingirsu. I'll show you that in the gameplay. So it's useful. Or if one of your Orcus dies to battle, you can just bring it back. So there you go. You got your dangers. I'm only running 3. I used to run more, but as I said, the scrap engine is just more consistent than the danger engine, because the danger engine, if it pops off and you keep getting draws and more dangers, like it can get you a lot of materials, but it's very inconsistent. So I just ran the 3 that were always consistent, which is these 3. So you could run another Jackalope if you want, but the scrap is just more consistent as long as you don't get ashed, right? So generally, if you have a scrap recycler and a danger, if you get ashed off the scrap recycler, you can still continue with the dangers. So that's the basic idea. Armageddon Knight is like the only other normal summon you have in here besides Girsu. So with Armageddon Knight, you could dump Orcust Harpor, which gets all your plays going. This you never want to see in your hand unless you could dump it. So this is a brick, because I said it's part of that scrap engine. This is a decent normal summon because then you can dump World Legacy Wand and get your Orcust plays going. This could also summon a token to your field and the opponent's field, but get drawbacks, right? It's funny because Sword Soul makes tokens with no drawbacks really, so it is what it is. Scrap Raptor, it's also part of the Scrap Recycler engine. You could normal summon another scrap in addition, so I didn't run too many of these. Worried about consistency, you could add another one of these, but I just ran the Scrap Golem instead because this can special a scrap from the grave. So there's that. Of course, I have my Kaiju engine, which is 3 Kaijus. I don't get into rank without Kaijus. It's just I just rely on it so much. Oh, I also have a Danger Nessie. Okay, I mean this one, if you miss on this danger, you can jeez, I'm blanking right here. If this card is discarded, okay, you can add a danger from your deck to your hand. So that's why I picked this one as opposed to like Bigfoot, which only helps going second, right? Orcust Nightmare is another strong Orcust monster that definitely helps being in the grave, because so basically, sorry. You can banish this from the grave, then target. So you need to target a monster on the field. That's the only downside of it. So if you don't have a monster on the field, this play dies. Target monster on the field. You cannot special summon anything besides dark monsters. Then send a dark machine from the deck to the grave, which you would pick like Harpor or like World Wand. And then if you do, the monster on the field gets attack boost, and then it just gets your plays going. It's really, really good. So why do you want World Wand in the grave? So first of all, it works with Lib, because Lib needs a World Legacy card in the grave. Second of all, if this is sent to the grave, you can special. That doesn't really apply because you're not going to have another World Legacy in your hand. But you could banish this, then target one of your banished Orcust and special summon. But it locks you into dark, which everything besides like the kaijus and the scrap recycler engine is darks. So basically, if ideally you want to do your scrap engine first and then start getting into Orcust. And your dangers you can just do as a backup plan. So there's that. My Nibiru, I don't leave home without it. I don't get into rank without it. Same with the Harpy's Feathers Duster. Reinforcement to search the Armageddon Knight. World Legacy Succession, that works with the Lib because during your main phase you could set a World Legacy spell from your deck. So that's that. This Orchestrated Return can send an Orcust from your hand to the grave. So it works really well if you draw one of these with one of your Orcusts or with the wand. You just send it to the grave and get your play started. Lightning Storm, I got from a bundle or I crafted. Strong card. I always run this. Okay, so Orchestrated Babel, as I said, this helps you get your Orcust into quick effects, so they can still work on your opponent's phase, and you can just basically disrupt them. Right? Because if you, for example, I don't think I did it in my game. So basically, for example, if you have Galatea on field and you didn't make Dingirsu yet, on summon Dingirsu can send one of your opponent's cards to the grave. So if you choose to activate the Babel on your turn, and then you wait until the opponent's turn to make Dingirsu, you could send one of their cards to the grave, like one of their critical, field spell or whatever, to the grave, and just really mess them up. So the only downside is, you won't have this Omni Negate, but whatever you think will hurt the opponent the most, that's what you go for, right? And basically you just try and keep your advantage and OTK them the next turn. One call by the grave, this should be two, but as you can see, I'm kind of low on mats. The two Forbidden Droplets, one is from the bundle, one I got for free from a pack, so run as many as you can, or Forbidden Chalice. The one Imperm from the bundle, and Crescendo, as we spoke about. So for the extra deck, I just love Time Thief for Doer, especially in this deck. So you could replace this with like Baguska or whatever you think is more useful. Dingirsu is the main boss monster, so you always want to focus on getting him out because he gives you battle protection. Link Spider because Nibiru, I run Nibiru, so I'm afraid of it myself. So you could try and continue plays. It doesn't always work, but I just run it. 2 Galatea because we can now. The 1 Scrap Wyvern because you need it for the engine. IP is good because you could go into this like half the time, so it helps, especially disrupting the opponent. If they try and target your IP, you can just link off into something else. like a Nightmare Unicorn and send one of their cards. Barricade Blocker just helps to send a card to the graveyard, so you can discard a card and then do something else. So it's just a free discard, which helps start your Orcust plays. Lib, we spoke about, it gets you World Legacy Succession. Nightmare Unicorn, we spoke about, that's just, another disruption card. Longirsu, we didn't really talk about, but basically, when you make this as a Link 3, you can target 2 of your banished machines and shuffle them into the deck. Then you can send a Link monster the opponent controls to the grave. That rarely comes up, but when it does, it's really, really nice. But you can't attack the turn that you do that. So, the other plus is it can't be destroyed by card effects. So it just gives you like grind power in the game. Orcustrion, the Link 4, I never made this. I just kind of included it because I didn't have any good alternates. Maybe later on I'll figure out a better one. But I have never made this, so I can't really tell you how useful it is, but it's an R, so why not, right? Appaloosa, of course, if you're able to make this and to set up your turn 1 board, access code for game, and this because I hate Avermax and other big towers. So there you go. Let's jump into the gameplay. Okay, here we go. So we got the scrap engine. So this guy was playing Code Talkers or something, and I'm just gonna warn you guys. This is my first time playing the scrap engine, so I'm pretty sure I messed this up because, as you can see, Rosenix is in my opening hand. So we'll see what I do with this, but yeah, I don't think I did that well with this. So I sent Orcust, Harper, then it got ashed. Get this up a little bit. And I ended my turn. Because as you can see from my hand, there's nothing else I could do. So sometimes that's just what it is, right? So okay, yeah, this guy is running Cyberse. So you got his Ibli, Balinix. So luckily I had Crow, but he had Call by the Grave. So there's that. So I ended up with Ibli on my field. So he starts doing his Code Talker plays. I was able to ash his micro coder effect. Let's see if that really stopped him or not. His Code Talker just keeps going. And he goes into Slash Mage, brings that back, Transcode. Yeah, he's just going for game at this point. I guess not really. He just did some damage. Alright, luckily I get the Gamma Seal, but let's see what I do. Alright, Gamma Seal first, get rid of his Transcode Talker. This isn't the best gameplay, I apologize. So he gets another Ibli. So he does me a favor by removing my Horror, but he doesn't OTK me, so that was his mistake. And luckily I dumped the Rosenix, so this all kind of gets my plays going. So my Horror searches my Girsu, then I dump I dumped a World Wand. I made Galatea, I banished a World Wand to bring back my Horror, Then I set orchestrated return because I had these in my hand. Then I just keep going. So, like, this is the cool thing about Orcust. Like, if you don't get OTK'd and you got, you know, Orcust or whatever in the grave, you're gonna pop off, and it's really fun. Which is why I'm showing this gameplay. And he splits from there because he knows it's done. So there you go. There is Orcust. You know, sadly, Orcust monsters do not have animations, but it's still a lot of fun. Since this was really short, I may as well. Nah, that's it. This is all the gameplay I have for Orcust. Unfortunately, I really did enjoy playing Orcust, but I have moved on to other decks. But I will definitely return back to Orcust. Please stay tuned. I'll be hitting my updated Charmers and Dragon Maid Dragoonity next as well. Alright guys, take care.